Let's now move to the other part of the chapter, that is, the tale of Custard the dragon. Before we move into the poem that we need to analyze and study, let's learn a few more things about it and about the poet of this particular poem. Ogden Nash, who was born on August 19th, 1902, and died on May 19, 1971. He is also known as Frederick Ogden Nash. He was a writer of humorous poetry who won a large following for his daring verse. He is also one of the most widely appreciated and imitated writers of light verse. The Tale of Custard the Dragon. Before we move into the poem, let's have an insight into what the poem is actually all about. The poem is a humorous ballad that represents a piece of writing in a very funny way. A little girl, Belinda, is described in the poem with somebody who has a lot of pets, and especially all of those pets have been named by her. She has named the black kitten as Ink, grey mouse as Blink, yellow dog as Mustard, and a coward dragon as Custard. The poet has beautifully described all these characters in the poem. He says that all of them are very brave except the dragon. But his perception changes when the dragon saves everyone from the attack of pirates on Belinda's house. Let's now move further into the poem. Belinda lived in a little white house with a little black kitten and a little grey mouse and a little yellow dog and a little red wagon and a Relio Trulio little pet dragon. Now the name of the little black kitten was Ink, and the little grey mouse she called her Blink, and the little yellow dog was sharp as Mustard, but the dragon was a coward and she called him Custard. So we now know that in this particular stanza, the poet says that a little girl, Belinda, lived in a small white house, and the girl has many pets at home. She has a small kitten who is black in color, a little mouse who is grey in color, and a creature who was really and truly a dragon. Also, there was little red wagon in the house. Moving forward, Custard the dragon had big sharp teeth and spikes on top of him and scales underneath, mouth like a fireplace, chimney for a nose, and Relio Trulio daggers on his toes. Belinda was as brave as a barrel full of bears, and Ink and Blink chased Lion down the stairs. Mustard was as brave as a tiger in a range, but Custard cried for a knife safe change. In this particular part, the poet tells the name of the pets who were in Belinda's home. He says that Belinda has named the little black kitten as Ink and the little grey mouse as Blink. The little dog was sharp and was yellow in color as Mustard, so she named him Mustard. She named the dragon Custard, which symbolizes that he was a coward animal and not brave enough as the other creatures of the home. The poet also goes on to describe the features and characteristics of a dragon. He says that the dragon has big sharp teeth. He looks scary as his skin is pointed at the top and his lower part has scaled underneath. His mouth looks like a fireplace showing his power. His nose is compared with a chimney through which smoke comes out from the fire of his mouth. The dragon's toes are so pointed that it can cut anything like a sharp knife. Moving forward, Belinda tickled him. She tickled him unmerciful. Here, tickled him unmerciful means to tickle continuously. Ink, Blink, and Mustard, they rudely called him Percival. They all sat laughing in the little red wagon at the Realio Trulio cowardly dragon. Belinda giggled till she shook the house. And Blink said, "Weak," which is giggling for a mouse. Ink and Mustard rudely asked his age, when Custard cried for a nice safe cage. So, in this particular part, the poet explained all the characteristics of the poem in which the characters have been described and then described their brave nature as well. He says that Belinda was as brave as a group of bears. Ink and Blink were so brave that they can scare and even chase away someone as strong as a lion. The bravery of the mustard dog was compared to that of the tiger's anger. However, Custard is described as opposite of his physical nature, of that being a dragon. Instead of being brave as a dragon, he has been described as fearful, who always cries for a knife safe cage. Suddenly, they heard a nasty sound, and Mustard growled, and they all looked around. So, growled as a word can be seen through the illustration of this dog. What he is doing is called as growling. Meow, cried Ink, and oh, cried Belinda, for there was a pirate climbing in the wind. Pistol in his left hand, pistol in his right, and he held his teeth in his teeth a cutlass bright. His beard was black, one leg was wood. It was clear that the pirate was no good. In this stanza, the poet has described how Belinda and other pet animals behave with the dragon. He says that Belinda used to tickle the dragon in a very harsh manner. Ink, Blink, and Mustard have even named him Percival. They make fun of him by calling him Percival because Percival was a king who was thought to be brave, but he had run away in a very coward manner from the battle. They all laugh at the dragon by sitting in the little wagon and make him feel that he is a coward. Belinda paled and she cried, "Help, help!" But Mustard fled with a terrifying yelp. Ink trickled down to the bottom of the household, and little mouse Blink was strategically household. But up jumped Custard, snorting like an engine, clashed his tail like irons in a dungeon. With a clatter and a clank and a jangling squirm, he went at the pirate like a robin at a worm. So, we can see that a pirate is a person who looks something like this. So, in this particular part, the poet says that Belinda laughs so loud that it seems that the complete house is shaken due to her laughter. The mouse also laughed at the dragon by making a wreck sound. The Ink and Mustard used to ask the dragon's age and make fun of him when he used to cry for a nice safe cage. This shows that the dragon behaved like a small kid and the other creatures used to tease him. Also, the poet says that when all of them were busy making fun of the dragon, suddenly everyone heard an unpleasant noise. It seems like someone had entered the house. They saw that a pirate was climbing the window of the house. At the moment, the dog barked at him and the cat meowed at him. Melinda cried as she got scared of him. The pirate gaped at Belinda's dragon and gulped some grog from his pocket flagon. He fired 2 bullets, but they didn't hit, and Custard gobbled him every bit. Belinda embraced him. Mustard licked him. No one mourned for his private pirate victim. Ink and Blink in glee did gyrate around the dragon that ate the pirate. So, the poet describes the appearance of the pirate. He says that the pirate has guns in both his hands. He was also carrying a bright sharp blade between his teeth. He had a black beard and one of his legs was injured. So, he seems to be a very dangerous person who intended to harm the house. But presently up spoke little dog Mustard. I'd have been twice as brave if I hadn't been flustered. Flustered means to be confused in a certain manner. And up spoke ink and up spoke blink. We'd have been 3 times as brave, we think. And Custard said, I quite agree that everybody is braver than me. The poet here explains the reaction that the pet animals and Belinda have after seeing the pirate. Belinda became pale with fear and cried for help. The pet animal, whom she thinks are brave, could not help her. The dog Mustard cried for a while and then ran away, and the kitten Ink went to the bottom of the house to hide. The mouse Blink ran to his mouse hole and smartly disappeared to save himself. Belinda still lives in her little white house with a little black kitten and a little grey mouse, and her little yellow dog and a little red wagon, and her realio, trulio little pet dragon. Belinda is as brave as a barrel full of beers, and Ink and Blink chase lions down the stairs. Mustard is as brave as a tiger in a rage, but Custard keeps crying for a knife safe cage. So, in this particular part, the poet explains and describes the bravery of the dragon. He says that when all the other pet animals flew themselves away to save themselves, the dragon came into the picture. He jumped at the pirate and made a large noise through like that of his nose, as though it was from an engine. Here, the noise produced by the dragon symbolizes that he was in an angry mood. He removed his tail with a great force that produced a clattering sound like an iron rod striking the walls of the prison. He moved towards the pirate in a similar way as a robin bird that attacks the worm. We must now look into a further explanation of the poem. This poem by Ogden Nash is a humorous ballad and parody about a girl named Melinda who has 4 pets, all of whom were brave except for Custard, her dragon. The pets make fun of Custard's cowardice until one day it is Custard who saves them all from a pirate who has entered the house. This changes the poet's and the other characters' perceptions of Custard. There are a few key terms that we must go through in order to understand the poem better. Grog, a drink typically drunk by sailors. Gyrate, to move around in a circle. You can see here how movement in a circle takes place by the women who are circling in this particular manner. There are a few questions that we must answer in order to comprehend the chapter that we have learned so far. Question number 1. Who are the characters in this poem? List them with their pet names. Why did Custard cry for a nice safe cage? Why is the dragon called a cowardly dragon? So, the answer to this question could be that Custard cries for a safe cage because he is a coward. He is called a cowardly dragon because other characters are defined to be very brave in the following manner. Number 1. Belinda is described as brave, as a barrel full of bears. Ink and Blink are also described as brave, as they can chase lions. And Mustard was as brave as a tiger in rage. Moving forward, Belinda tickled him. She tickled him unmerciful. Why? The answer to this question could be that Belinda tickled him unmerciful because Custard the dragon was a coward. He always demanded a safe cage. This is why all of them made fun of him. Question number 4. The poet has employed many poetic devices in the poem. For example, clashed his tail like iron in a dungeon. The poetic devices here is a simile. Can you, with your partner, list some more such poetic devices used in the poem? So, in this poem, the poet has used many poetic devices to enhance the beauty of the poem. Like, to create rhyme with Belinda, he used the word winda instead of window. Other such rhyming words are household, used with mousehold, and wagon, which is used with dragon. Not only this, he also uses poetic devices of repetition. For example, the word little is used many times to describe her house and her pets. There is also the use of poetic device of refrain because we can see the repetition of a line and her realio, trulio, little pet dragon in many stanzas. Question number 5. Read stanza 3 again to know how the poet describes the appearance of the dragon. Therefore, the answer could be that the looks of the dragon are explained in a way that it has big sharp teeth and spikes on top. This means its skin is pointed on the top. On the lower part, it has scales which are bony plates meant to protect the skin. His mouth has been compared to a fireplace because it is assumed that the dragons can release fire from the mouth. Even his nose is compared to a chimney which is used to pass out the smoke. His feet are like a sharp knife, that is, like a dagger. Question number 6. Can you find out the rhyme scheme of 2 or 3 stanzas of the poem? Rhyme scheme of the second and third stanza is AABB. Question number 7. Writers use words to give us a picture or image without actually saying what they mean. Can you trace some images used in the poem? So, following are the words that are used to give us a picture or image. That is, mouth, like a fireplace, chimney for nose, barrel full of beers, brave as a tiger in the rage, and he went at the pirate like a robin at a worm. Question number 8. Do you find the tale of Custard the Dragon to be a serious or a light-hearted poem? Give reasons to support your answer. So, the tale of Custard the Dragon is a light-hearted poem. All the characters have names which are rhyming with each other. They all are defined to be very brave, except the dragon. But in reality, the dragon proves to be the real hero. Which is what exemplified when they are all attacked by the pirate. The dragon gulps him. Though all the other characters were not brave enough to handle the pirate, but still they define themselves to be more powerful than the dragon. However, after the incident, it is handled by the dragon alone, though the dragon was defined as a coward by the poet right from the beginning of the poem. So, let's go through a quick revision to recap whatever we have learned and comprehended so far. The Tale of Custard the Dragon by Ogden Nash narrates the humorous story of Belinda and her pets in a ballad form. Ballad form is a form of a poem. She lives in the little white house with her pets named Ink, Blink, Mustard, and a cowardly dragon, Custard. Each of the characters seems courageous except Custard, who always asks for a knife safe cage. The characters often tease and mock. That is, they make fun of Custard for not being brave until one day an evil pirate stealthily enters Belinda's house. That is, in a fearful manner. All of her pets run away for their safety apart from the cowardly dragon. This causes a change in other people's, that is, Belinda and her pet's perception of Custard, though he calls himself a coward and asks for a nice cage. So, that's all for now. I hope that the lesson and the poem came across in a comprehensible manner.